Hello and welcome to my review of the SH MonsterArts SpaceGodzilla. SpaceGodzilla was the third general release in the SH MonsterArts line, and overall, this has got to be one of my most favorite figures of all time. But what exactly makes SpaceGodzilla so awesome? First, let's take a look at the sculpt on SpaceGodzilla. Absolutely phenomenal. SpaceGodzilla was sculpted by Yuji Sakai, who also sculpted Godzilla and other monsters in the SH MonsterArts line, and all of the detailing that was put into Godzilla, the first release, was turned up to 10 for SpaceGodzilla, which was the next non-robotic Godzilla entry into the MonsterArts line. So let's take a look. You can see here on the thighs, each and every little bump and ridge was individually sculpted onto this guy. You can even see on the knee, it looks like SpaceGodzilla's knee from the movie. That's pretty cool. You can take a look at the shoulder crystals here, and you can see little teeny tiny bumps that aren't connected to these blue streaks, and it looks really, really cool. It's hard to believe that somebody actually sculpted that by hand. Looking at the dorsal plates, they look like real crystals. It's so cool. There's also a little extra that they used for SpaceGodzilla that I will show later, and it really adds to the overall appearance of SpaceGodzilla. And all throughout the tail, it's just so beautifully sculpted. This, in terms of sculpt, this is one of my favorite figures of all time. Going all the way up, and looking at the tip with many smaller crystals poking out. Sculpt on SpaceGodzilla. Perfect. Beautiful. A work of art. Now for the paint on SpaceGodzilla. If you're a SpaceGodzilla fan, something you'll notice about the MonsterArts figure is that it is not movie accurate. No. The blue on SpaceGodzilla is too dark. It should be much lighter. And on the chest area, the red should be brighter too, and not as dark. Also, SpaceGodzilla doesn't have all of these little purple, blue, red trimmings on it, except for the shoulder crystals in the movie there. It's there, but it's toned down. But what we have on the final product of SpaceGodzilla is beautiful. Let's start with one of the problem areas that I made mention of, the stomach chest area. And as you can see, little bits of blue from underneath are popping out. Very, very detailed with the paint. And normally I don't really say hype up the paint job on a figure, but even though this is not suit accurate, it looks amazing. It goes all the way up into the chest, all the way up to the neck area. And of course, because shadows are in play here, can't exactly get the best view of it, but it's phenomenal. The shoulder crystals, they start off with this darker red here, and they slowly work their way up to this light shade of pink, and then into this pure, clean white. All the way up at the top here. The crystals look magnificent. Looking at the head, though it's more so a sculpt detail, but it's an application they decided to go with. The crown or the crest on SpaceGodzilla, it is a translucent yellow. It looks very, very, very nice. And I'm going to show that off in a little bit. Something else very, very cool about SpaceGodzilla's paint, the claws on the hands and on the feet. Let me pop off a hand here on SpaceGodzilla and show you what I am talking about. Now, SpaceGodzilla features a purple color, mostly throughout the body, and that is true on all of the claws. As you can kind of see here, no, as you can really see, SpaceGodzilla's claws start off with this white and then slowly transition their way into purple and then into the blue of the hand. It looks very, very nice, and I'll show you on the toes too. Very detailed. Focus properly. There we go. Yes. And on the dorsal plates too, they have a similar vibe for them. Starts off with this blue on the skin, as you could say, SpaceGodzilla, and then it transitions into a light purple, and then it breaks off into the white of the crystals. For a more detailed example, once again, the tip of the tail. That is so cool. Now for the unique part of the crystals on SpaceGodzilla. They are translucent. Look at that. The light shines perfectly through them. And if you have this one just so it catches light in your collection, wherever he's displayed, it's so cool to wake up in the morning and to see SpaceGodzilla practically glowing from the natural light. So overall, sculpt and paint on SpaceGodzilla, absolutely flawless. There's no paint slop at all anywhere on SpaceGodzilla that I can find, and the sculpt is absolutely magnificent. Being a part of the SH MonsterArts line, SpaceGodzilla sports articulation, and quite a bit of it. Again, let's start with the head and work all the way down to the feet. So first, SpaceGodzilla mouth. Opens and closes. I'm not sure what kind of joint the mouth is actually on, but the innards of SpaceGodzilla's mouth don't allow it to get, I guess you could say, dislocated like Godzilla does, so effectively it's just a hinge joint. That's all you're going to get out of it. It opens and it closes. Next up, SpaceGodzilla has two joints in the neck. One is here, connecting to the head, which allows for minimal movement. It is a ball joint, but it's not the main functioning joint in the neck. Whoa, there we go. Allows for a little bit there and there. Next up, this little area here, deep within the neck, that is what really allows for the head to move. Now, one thing to note about SpaceGodzilla is that he can look down. Okay? One problem, though, is that he cannot look too far down. And there we go. Ball joint will pop out for the head. So just keep that in mind. But if it happens, it's not the end of the world. See? Good as new. Next up, shoulders. Ball joint. And interestingly enough, for the big bulky shoulder area, there's this little flap. Let's see if I can get a better look at this. That moves. It's right here. And it allows for you to make it seem like this area is perfectly holding it down. See, so you can move the arm out. Looks fine. You put the arm in. Move that. Looks fine. Yeah. Neat little add-on there. Elbows. What does SpaceGodzilla have? Hinge. I mean, it's nothing amazing. It's just a hinge joint. And then for the hands, ball joint. yeah, pretty basic there. Nothing super fantastic. No bicep swivel, which is kind of a shame. And one thing, after looking at later releases, that I would have preferred on SpaceGodzilla is that these bulky shoulder crystals don't move. So you're kind of stuck moving SpaceGodzilla's arms within the restriction of the shoulder area. And normally someone would say, oh, well, that has to go with the design. That's something that they have to do. However, looking at a later release, Destroya has the same deal going on that SpaceGodzilla does. Bulky shoulder area. However, it can move. So thinking of these areas here being the shoulder crystals on SpaceGodzilla, it would be cool if that type of articulation was engineered into SpaceGodzilla. Unfortunately, it's not, but just a critique of the figure. Next up, the body. Mine did not move at all the waist area here, chest area, but it is on a ball joint. I literally had to twist it and he popped off. Let's see if I can do it again here. Yep. I had to keep twisting mine and he popped off. But yes, he is on a ball joint. As you can clearly see there, that is a ball joint for the waist area on the body. So he does have some movement. It's just rocking, but still, it's pretty cool. The legs, the hips on SpaceGodzilla. 1000% improvement over Godzilla. Full use of the ball-jointed feet, and as usual, the knees are on a hinge. Bravo there. Bravo there. Much needed improvement over Godzilla. That is why I expected Godzilla to do. The SpaceGodzilla can do it. So it's awesome. Also, speaking of improvements, SpaceGodzilla's tail. It goes completely flat because almost every other segment here features articulation. Remember how I, in my Godzilla review, I grabbed Godzilla and I kind of flicked the tail upward? Yeah, I did that to my SpaceGodzilla a lot. So this end here, there's a loose joint from me doing it so often, because if I can get so much fun out of it with lesser articulation, I can get more fun out of it with more. But yes, I think the articulation stops right here. So, very neat tail. And what's also really cool about this that Godzilla doesn't have, there's an actual ball joint here. So, it would be flying, but you can get SpaceGodzilla in a straight pose that Godzilla couldn't take for swimming. So SpaceGodzilla would be flying, but yeah. Articulation on SpaceGodzilla, it's awesome. It's exactly what's needed. Again, the shoulder cuts that Destroya has would be awesome on SpaceGodzilla, but what we have, it works. So, accessories and effect parts for SpaceGodzilla. Very, very basic with what he comes with, but it's awesome. So, SpaceGodzilla comes first and foremost with this crystal base. It's neat looking, sculpted very, very well, and the crystals look nice too. Very, very pointy, much like SpaceGodzilla's shoulder crystals. Also, comes with the stage act arm to pop into the base, as shown. But you're probably asking, what is this for? What is this sorcery? Because SpaceGodzilla comes with the Corona Beam. And at the bottom beam, on the bottom, there is a hole right here to plug in the stage act arm. And so you pop it into the base, align it properly with his mouth, and bada boom. SpaceGodzilla firing his Corona Beam. Now, two things about this. One, the base and the stage act arm, they are not needed to support the Corona Beam in the mouth. However, I would suggest not doing this for long periods of time because that is all weight that is being supported by the jaw. So over time, that's probably going to start to sag or possibly snap off. Just a point, if you want to do it for a quick display piece, you want to take a picture and you don't have access to the base, or you just don't want to use it, that is possible. Two, I don't know what they were thinking. Probably not in this scenario, but this hole for the stage act base, or arm, it doesn't go through. Observe. So when trying to push it in all the way so it's secure, here, let me do it like this because that would make the most sense. A slight move, it comes out. So it's very, very finicky. Not the best in the world. But overall, with what we get with SpaceGodzilla, really the only thing that could be asking for more would be more crystals. But overall, I would say I'm very, very pleased with the accessories. Obviously, SpaceGodzilla is not the only entry into the SH MonsterArts line. So let's take a look at the other monsters that were released alongside SpaceGodzilla from the movie Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla. First and foremost, where he originated from. Godzilla. Scales relatively well. I think overall SpaceGodzilla should probably be a little bit taller, but it works. Shoulder crystals make him huge though. Lot more plastic there. Next up, taking a look at Mogera. About the same height. Again, shoulder crystals give the advantage over materials used, but Mogera's die cast, so that works. Works really well. And then finally, his nephew, Little Godzilla. Yeah, Little Godzilla is smaller than SpaceGodzilla. About the same height, too. Or same scale as the movie. Little Godzilla comes up to about a little taller than his thigh. So let's get the overall movie shot in here from all the characters in the movie. Yeah, it works out really well. Final thoughts on SpaceGodzilla? I have absolutely nothing to say that is not positive about SpaceGodzilla. Fantastic sculpt. Fantastic paint. Great articulation. Great accessories. Great for scale-wise. This thing is almost near perfect. Only things that I would have to complain about would be movie-accurate paint, which would be preferred some point later as, say, an exclusive, maybe a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and shoulder cuts for the articulation to actually move the shoulder crystals around. Aside from that, flawless. This has to be one of my top 3 favorites. I own so many other figures from different lines, from different companies, and this one takes the cake in all departments. It's amazing. In all areas, it's virtually flawless. I paid $75 for mine. I thought that was MSRP. Worth every single penny to me. Turns out that MSRP is $84 through Bluefin, though I think Amazon is selling it for $65 at the moment. Yeah, an amazing deal. If you're thinking about getting SpaceGodzilla, go ahead and pick it up. May not be the king of the monsters, but definitely, in this case, SpaceGodzilla is king of my collection.